With the combine over, we're going to be discussing the prospects that have been very overlooked in Dynasty recently, but their analytical profiles are going to suggest that they have massive NFL ceilings. So if you're in the third round, if you're in the fourth round of your Dynasty rookie drafts, these are going to be the diamond in the rough prospects that are going to be hidden, and you're going to want to snatch these guys up before your league mates. My first sleeper is a guy that I absolutely loved, quarterback Payton out of North Dakota State. This
Wow.
guy is a Konami code dual threat from the quarterback factory, NDSU. Obviously, we know Carson Wentz, Trey Lance, Easton Stick as well. Recent memory came out of that FCS program. They produced two top three NFL picks at quarterback, so they're known to develop those quarterbacks. Obviously, they didn't really turn out too great in the NFL, but I feel like honestly, Payton might be better than these guys as a prospect. He's definitely the most efficient of the bunch. In 2025, he finished with 2,700 passing yards, 16 passing touchdowns. But when you dive deeper into those stats, he also posted the highest big time throw rate from a clean pocket and when blitzed that we've seen in over a decade. He had a 100 grade on throws 20 plus yards downfield in 2025. He also led the FCS in yards per attempt and pass efficiency scores. He's not just a scrambler either. A lot of people are going to assume he's just a scrambler because, he added that 800 yards rushing, 13 rushing touchdowns on the ground. He runs a 4.56. He's a 9.97 RAS, relative athletic score. He had a fantastic combine, but he's not just that scrambler, right? He doesn't just get scared and take any yards that he can on the ground, kind of just running away from the people rushing him. He is an aggressive downfield playmaker. This guy stays calm under pressure. He makes those big plays. Like when he's rushing, when he's scrambling, he's looking downfield. He's not just gonna, be a Daniel Jones rusher. He's like, okay, I gotta, get the 5 yards on the ground that I can, right? This guy is a guy that has that high upside. He's not afraid to make those big time throws. This is a guy you definitely need to stash on your taxi squad if he doesn't go drafted in your rookie drafts. Otherwise, I would look to get him in, maybe the last pick in the third round, maybe like in the fourth round if you have a fourth round in your dynasty drafts. He's 6'3", 233 pounds. Obviously, there's risk. Of course, this guy is not a bona fide quarterback by any means. He'll probably be like a round 4 to 5, maybe round 6 NFL draft prospect. He's a lefty. He's got some mechanical twerks. He only has 1 year of starting experience, kind of like Anthony Richardson, although against worse competition than Anthony Richardson. But in the late rounds of your superflex draft, you're not taking him like where you're taking Anthony Richardson at the 102. You're taking this guy as a taxi squad guy, maybe just a complete stash. He's basically free at this point in your leagues. You might even be able to take him off the waivers after your rookie draft. So you're just drafting for the ceiling at this point. You're grabbing high ceiling guys, and this guy has a top 12 quarterback upside if he lands in a good system, if he develops properly, and I'm willing to take that bet.
Yeah, I actually really love the North Dakota State University. I love that whole story. They produced some really great players. Gray Zabel was absolutely awesome
Yeah.
this year. He projects to be an all-pro level guard for years to come. And I'm actually, I think true. Carson Wentz, I think was pretty good in his earlier career, and I think he's a little bit overslandered. I don't think he was the most amazing. He was a bit of a
Yeah.
too much of a gunslinger at times. But early Philadelphia Carson was a problem for sure.
He had that MVP season, so
Yeah.
I mean, can't go wrong.
So the first sleeper I'm going to go with is Chris Brazzell, getting a ton of hype after the combine. Of course, 6'5", 4.37 wide receiver, getting a lot of hype. Everyone's looking to grab him as in probably the early mid-second round, I would say, of your drafts. I love that he's probably going to get early day 2 draft capital, so he's going to probably go to a really nice contender. He's going to look to really utilize his skills in the deep down the field passing game. 84 yards per game, led his conference this season, had the over 1,000 yards, really high-level competition as well, playing in Tennessee. But as we know, he ran so many go routes, so many long balls. He really didn't run the slant. He really didn't run the ends, didn't run anything. Has a very limited route tree for sure. Not a polished prospect by any means. And you would obviously like to see him with some better hands and contested catchability for a guy who's 6'5". With that being said, the production and the athleticism there, I would love to see him go to a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, a team who takes those shots deep down the sideline, especially if they're looking to replace some of that A.J. Brown production. I think that would be a perfect situation for him, but he would need to go to a team with a quarterback who loves to take shots deep down the field, who would throw for some more yards, some more touchdowns. I know Jalen Hurts struggles to take take shots over the middle, but he has really good long ball down the sidelines. That's what he really specializes at. That's what he's kind of made a career on. And I think if he could go to a team like that, a QB that's throwing the deep balls down the sideline, and he starts working on the over the middle, layering some deep crossers in with that, I think he's got really high potential, but it is very situational. I just think the ceiling is way too high to ignore in the early to mid second round of your dynasty drafts.
I definitely think that it's really dependent on his landing spot. It's really dependent on where his draft capital is in the NFL. It depends what the scouts kind of think of him. If he lands in a great situation, great coaching, I feel like he has that potential maybe in the second round of your rookie drafts. Right now, I have him closer to the third round of rookie drafts. I'm not too high on him personally, but definitely if those things that you mentioned, can happen, he can develop, he can, stop being lazy on routes sometimes. He goes to a good situation. Definitely would not mind taking the shot on him in the late second round. All right, so with my second sleeper here, it's a guy that I'm very, very high on. Eli Stowers, tight end out of Vanderbilt. He's the Mackey Award winner that the market, in my opinion, is ignoring. A lot of people saw that unreal combine, that insane performance that he put up there. So now he's starting to gain some steam, but I was on him before the combine. I really, really liked him. I had this written before the combine, this kind of breakdown on him. I kind of already told you in the previous video that we did why I think Kenyon Sadiq is a trap, where he's going in the 105, 106 range, and Eli Stowers is the main reason why. I think that this guy, he just won the John Mackey Award, as I mentioned, nation's best tight end, but yet he's projected to be drafted around after Kenyon Sadiq, so that's kind of a market inefficiency that you should exploit if you can. His career yards per out run is an insane 2.34. It puts him in a historic tier with pretty much all of those guys ended up being great fantasy tight ends. He's 6'4", he's 235. He's that move tight end who used to be a quarterback. So I feel like the fact that he used to be a quarterback similar to Tyler Warren, it can kind of excuse him being that 5-year player that a lot of critics knock him for. I just feel like he has that high football IQ. He's got the versatility. He led Vanderbilt in receptions. He's a mismatch nightmare. In the red zone, you can get up, throw him a jump ball. He's going to catch it most likely. He's a yak beast, post-elite production. 6.7 yards per catch is great. This guy's a freak athlete. Like I said, amazing combine, historic numbers. Not to mention that vertical jump, man. Did you see that vertical jump?
Yeah, unreal.
Unreal vertical jump. He's the most complete receiving tight end in this class, in my opinion. I think he is better as a receiving tight end than Sadiq. It's going to be a very, very hot take, but I'm going to say it. I'm not going to say this guy doesn't have any red flags. He's not a great blocker. He's not a great contested catch guy, but at his current price in the second round, you can't really go wrong. I would definitely be looking to draft this guy. If you're looking for a tight end in Dynasty rookie drafts this year, I would definitely target Eli Stowers rather than paying that 105, 106 price tag on Kenyon Sadiq.
Yeah, it doesn't shock me that he's a former quarterback is not the best blocker. With that being
exactly.
It's a good thing we're not protecting the quarterback in fantasy football. It's all about pure receiving. Obviously, that helps him stay on the field. But I think a guy who advanced analytic loves, who has amazing athleticism like we saw at the combine, and has high level production. I think really the only thing you can knock him on is the age, especially with the position change. Like that is really the main factor there. Yeah. I do love former quarterbacks because they often have an extreme, enhanced understanding of the game, enhanced understanding of the position and how to get open, what quarterbacks like, what quarterbacks are looking for. I've seen a lot of former quarterbacks have a lot of success switching over to receiver. Terrell Pryor, Joey Myers, Julian Edelman, guys who really specialized in their route running and stuff like that. So I'm a big fan of him, and I think that he has huge potential. Kind of reminds me of can be like a better Evan Ingram in the way he moves, the way he gets open and moves across the field. Huge fan of him as well. Love the player. So next up, we're going with Antonio Williams out of Clemson. Ran a 4.4, so he's got some nice speed on him. Amazing route runner, really a technician, solid hands. He plays super physical. I love his yak potential, the way he runs, the way he moves. You would not think he is the size he is, coming in at just under 6 foot. He gets up there in contested catch situations. Really just fell in love with this guy when I was watching his film. Certain knocks against him, he only had 600 yards this year. He was dealing with a hamstring injury all year and playing through it that he sustained actually in the opener against LSU. Obviously, Clemson had a terrible year. Cade Klubnik didn't look like himself. There are a lot of reasons why we could see the production drop off from him as a redshirt sophomore. Had over 900 yards and 11 touchdowns. really great. I love the touchdown numbers for a slot receiver. Showed that he was a reliable red zone threat, and they were looking at him in key situations. And he was really Kate Klubnik's safety blanket, I found. Whenever he was looking for a big down, whenever he was looking for a big throw over the middle, Antonio Williams was always there to deliver and get more yards after the catch. I think he's a great football player. I think he's being a little bit undervalued because of the size, because of the injury in his last year. I just think with that kind of production as a redshirt sophomore in the ACC, again, not the most ideal situation a lot of times. He's just always shown up and a great football player. I just think if you turn on the film, it's hard not to fall in love with him. As a pure slot, though, his fantasy value is capped somewhat. Reminds me a lot of a Jaden Reed when they're getting him the ball, when they're getting him involved in the forced touches almost sometimes and the little routes over the middle. Like his target share, I feel like is going to be the biggest hurdle he has towards being a really great fantasy option. At the same time, I think quarterbacks are going to love this guy. Coaches are going to love this guy. He's a really great hard worker, moves the chains. I think he's going to be an excellent slot option. If you see him in the mid-late second round, I think you'll be able to snag him up and he'll be a really good flex option for you in the future at minimum.
I do feel like, yeah, you mentioned he's a slot receiver, so he's probably not going to be, his upside's obviously capped. He's more of that Randall Cobb type guy, 5'11". He's only 190 pounds. He's obviously a great route runner, as you mentioned, but analytically, the guy's not great. He's a very reliable slot receiver, and that's kind of what he is. His ADOT's very, very low. It's under a threshold where it's kind of very predictive of him not being great in fantasy. This is, as you mentioned, I believe, this kind of an example of not great in fantasy, great in real life. He's probably that example. He had a great 2024 season, but this past season, his production dropped a lot. Obviously, that's due to injuries as well. In 2023, he almost missed the entire year with an ankle injury. And for being hurt majority of the time in college, 2 out of the 3 years, and then only being 190 pounds, running over the middle a lot, taking a lot of hits over the middle, that's a big red flag for me. Also, 80% of his snaps in the middle, he's rarely playing outside. I feel like Jaden Reed plays a lot more outside than Antonio Williams would be able to do, and makes a lot of more plays deep. I feel like this guy's, as the ADOT kind of shows, is just very, very, like, obviously the scheme targets over the middle, short to intermediate at the most. The upside's really capped with him. You're looking at, like, if he lands in a great spot, if he's starting right away, you're looking at maybe, like, 6 catches for like 50 yards, and like, are you gonna really love that maybe as like a low end flex? But like, I don't see any like 15 plus point games. I don't see it with him. Maybe, and like I said, like when you're looking at the third round, the late second round, you don't want these like floor guys. You kind of want to go a little bit higher upside, still like factor in a little bit of the risk, but I just feel like Antonio Williams is just not a high enough ceiling for me to be taking him in the second round.
And I feel like all those points are really fair. Like there's a reason why he's going where he is. I just feel like I really loved the touchdown numbers the year before as well. That is obviously very situational on his usage. I think he's got great hands. He fights hard when the ball's thrown to him in contested catch situations. He's shown really good numbers in those areas. I just feel like in the right situation, he could be a really nice sleeper to grab, much like Jaden Reed was before the injury last year. He was on a very good trajectory. He had over 1,000 yards, all-purpose yards, 1,000 all-purpose yards as a rookie, 9 touchdowns. Very good. So a player like that reminds me a lot of him, where it's going to be very situational, very reliant on health, how impactful he is. But I think he's going to be a good flex at minimum for you.
Fair enough. Yeah, definitely understand. All right, with my third sleeper here, I'm going to go with Kaytron Allen, running back out of Penn State. This guy is the David Montgomery of this draft. Senior Bowl was really great. If you want a back who is NFL ready, this is probably, other than Jeremiah Love, the most NFL ready back in the class. Just broke the Penn State record for all-time rushing. He passed Saquon Barkley. He did it while splitting carries with Nick Singleton. So there you go. That kind of shows his efficiency. He's a 220-pound back. This guy is a workhorse frame. He finished top 20 in the country in yards after contact, proving that he doesn't need that clean rushing lane to produce. He can find those nitty-gritty, vision. He has great vision. He can find kind of the areas in the offensive line. He could find the holes. At the Senior Bowl, he was the talk of the town. He clocked in 18.6 1.61 miles per hour speed, showcasing those elite blocking in pass situation skills as well. So he's a great pass blocker. This guy's going to be on the field a lot. Coaches are going to trust him. He's great running back all around. I've yet to see some really concerning red flags out of his profile whatsoever. He might be the safest running back besides Love in this class. I think he is, at least. He's a capable 3-down workhorse running back frame. He could dominate goal line work right away. He's going to dominate short yardage situations right away. I think this guy is going to be like a 10 touchdown type running back every year if he's a starting running back in the NFL, which I think he easily can be. I think he's very NFL ready. I think he's going to step into a starting role pretty fast out of the gate. He's not a sexy pick in Dynasty drafts, obviously, but where he's going right now, he's projected like maybe mid-second, maybe early second with a good, landing spot. But I feel like he could be a top 20, top 25 running back by October. I feel like you draft him, you enjoy the high floor, you enjoy knowing that you're gonna get kind of a hit in the second round guaranteed with this guy. I just don't see any way that this guy's a bust in the NFL. I just don't. Instead of chasing that explosive guy, the explosive running back, maybe just go with the safe option here at the early second, kind of like a Cam Scatabo in a way. He might even go to the Lions in the draft and then take over that Montgomery role. Immediate flex work. He's going to be in your flex spot. He's going to be in your starting lineup right away. He could be an RB2 type upside type guy.
Don't complicate it. Just draft good football players, right?
Exactly. I don't see any red flags in his profile. Like, I was trying to find red flags and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. So obviously he's not as good as Love, that's for sure. But like, he is extremely safe.
Would you say he's your RB2 class?
I feel like it's Price and Allen in tier number 2.
Well, this leads me perfectly into my last sleeper here is Jadarian Price. Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah, I always find it super interesting when there are two backs on one school that are very, very productive and get drafted highly. Probably going back to the Sony Michel, Nick Chubb pick. I've been very, very interested in following that. And then obviously last year the Travion Judkins pairing. Patriots always kind of seem to be involved on those running back pairings. So I've been always paying very close attention to their careers, and I'm very interested to see how Jadarian Price is used at the NFL level. I have him as my RB2 in the class. I just think he's super explosive, and I like how polished he is on some of those things that a lot of backs like him get taken off the field for. I like that he's a good pass protector, and I like that he offers a lot in the receiving game. That is kind of where he's going to shine in those explosive screen passes, running off tackle. That's kind of what his usage is going to be like. He had amazing yards per carry, around 6 yards per carry. 1/5 of his targets, just around 1/5, went for over 10 yards. So this is a home run hitter if I've ever seen one. This is, like you were saying, a guy who you take for these explosive runs, the high ceiling at running back. If he would have gotten more carries in college, we would have been able to see if he has kind of more of that 3-down potential. I don't personally see it. I don't think he's got the true bell cow build. He does have really, really nice speed for his size. I just see him as more of that explosive playmaker out of the backfield. I think he's going to be getting on, depending on situation, I think he'll be getting on the field a lot more than he did in college with how he pass blocks and receives and stuff like that within the first few years. Alvin Kamara, absolute ceiling. Tariq Cohen, floor, I would say. So like he's going to be used in that kind of a role, which is always kind of a boomer bust explosion. And I'm really excited to see if he can get a good offensive line. I would not be surprised for a couple home runs in his first year, even a reduced role.
I really, really like Jadarian Price as well. I have him currently as my RB2 just due to pure upside over Kaytron Allen, because Allen doesn't have that receiving ability. He's mostly going to be like that goal line running back between the tackles guy. Whereas Jadarian Price, I think, has the potential to be a workhorse running back in the NFL. He's honestly a slightly bulkier James Cook, in my opinion. I see a lot of similarities between him and James Cook. They're both fast, explosive, very efficient per touch, as you mentioned, breakaway run guys. Obviously, he never had that game over 20 carries in college. He was splitting with Jeremiah Love, so that's probably why. He did have that Achilles injury in 22, which is really scaring me. But just like James Cook, they could still be a RB1. Maybe they just weren't given the opportunity in college. Fumble issues, he does have that injury history is going to bring down his draft draft stock as well. But he ran a 4.49, which is pretty solid for a running back of his size. I look at his tape. I actually turn on his tape, and he looks like an NFL running back to me. He looks like he could be that James Cook type of running back. I just cannot put anyone else above him besides Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, absolutely. Really interested to see how him and Love's careers pan out. Obviously, not as close to comparable as those other pairs, but still pretty interesting to see RB1 and 2 of this class on the same college team for sure.
Yeah, if you can get this guy in the second round, I feel like you're laughing.
I totally agree.